Hey guys, today we have a video about losing money when you try to save money, specifically with these Ergon grips. I have one grip. Why do I have one? It's because I thought I was buying a set and the auction was cleverly designed to fool a small brain like mine, and it said grip. It always said grip, and it never actually said, hey, this is only one right grip. It was just like, hey, this is a great Ergon grip. This grip, and it was just because it left the S off. I feel like I got scammed, but it was really my own fault because I just, there was a picture of one grip in the picture and, it kept saying grip, but I just couldn't imagine, like when I saw this, I didn't even consider somebody would be selling one of these. Like they always come in sets. And I thought, later when I looked back and looked at it, I'm like, well, if anybody really just was selling one of these, they probably would have put, hey, notice there's only one. But I don't feel like I can return it because, like it's my fault. I just feel like their auction was really written in a way to almost trick me. So anyway, back to Ergon grips. Why do I need one of these? Well, my friend Luke gave me a set that's on my Specialized bike, the one over there, the black one. That Specialized, those grips were the ones he used on Tour Divide. I think they're just basic GP3s or GP2s from, I don't know, a long time ago. He did Tour Divide in 2013. And I think he'd had them for quite a while. He trained on them and stuff, and he really liked them. So when he finished, they were pretty wore out, and he dismantled that bike. In fact, I think he gave me that whole bike that completely worn out bike and the grips with it. So I am a huge fan of these. I would have never bought them myself. They're too expensive just to try, especially back in the day when I was very, very low on cash in the early 2000s, and mountain biking was like constantly just draining me from like all the broken stuff and whatever. I bought a bike, I think, or I don't know. I don't really know how I got these. I don't know if somebody gave them to me, but the first set I had is on the Scud right there. And those grips have a bigger metal bar end. And other than that, they're pretty much about the same. Maybe a little bit bigger grip itself, a little bit flatter platform. So I put them on and instantly loved them. Like I had been using grips for a long time. ODI, I think they were called ODI Rebels or Ruffians or I don't know, I don't remember what they were, but I had some really chunky, big fat ODI grips because I've always liked a larger control surface. Like on road bikes, I double wrap or put gel wrap in my bar and underneath the bar tape. And on mountain bikes, a bigger grip always just felt better to me. Smaller grips felt too tight. The grips that come with my Specialized chisel here, they were really small XC grips, really narrow, and they were like, for me, almost unrideable. Like my hands just felt like it was horrible, just like nonstop, crunk, 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 too much pain, and just I have very uncomfortable grip. So I ditched those pretty much almost as soon as I got that and put on a set of these that had been sitting in a box or something, and I've used them nonstop. So I am a rebel when it comes to modern bike standards, and I feel like mountain biking is sort of even though mountain bikers like would, compared to road bikers say, oh, we're not nearly as like style driven or as like we're just so much more cool, laid back people or whatever. And that's true for a lot of things. But I also feel like there's a lot of conformity in mountain biking. For instance, I loved bar ends back in the 90s. I love bar ends. Nobody runs bar ends, and I've gotten a lot of flack from other riders for riding bar ends. They kind of make fun of them a little bit. They talk about how you're going to snag this or snag that. They also talk about how wrong they look. Even on, the modern bar, which in my opinion is too wide, just way too wide. I know it's probably better to have a wider bar for sure, but some of these bars I feel like, hey, this is kind of ridiculous. I don't need to be out like this. Maybe like this. But anyway, yeah, bar ends are a thing of the past. Nobody uses them anymore. And I guess that's because, when you're out this wide, when you're talking about this setup right here, old school setup, and your bars are closer, there's a huge difference between, having your hands here and having your hands like this, a lot more comfortable. But, when you're always out like this, it really doesn't matter so much. but I love them. Even on the wider bars, I just still love them. So why do I like them so much? Well, you know, it just gives my hands a different feel. I can grab hold of that. I just, standing with them feels a lot better. I feel like I have a lot more leverage and just, I like them. You can't hit the brakes, so I have been caught out with them a couple times where I'm like, oh man, I need to hit the brakes really bad and I got to switch over really fast. But I'm a huge fan of just the comfort. You have to get this dialed in. You got to get it so that your hand's flat. Now, what a lot of people will say is that you lose control. So like you don't have the proper like ability to, I guess, like, when they say lose control, I really don't understand that. I mean, I'm not a great mountain biker. I'm not doing tricks and stunts and doing a lot of aggressive riding. I guess what they mean is like if you reach way forward, you know, you've got to twist your hands or grips. They're talking about like climbing super steep stuff and descending super steep stuff and being in a very different body position. So you need to be able to grip them in a different way. And if that's the case for people, I've never had that problem. Like for me, I'm always just comfortable with my hand just flat on this grip. Now, some things I like about it, besides the extra position with the bar end, I also really enjoy, even if you take the bar end off, because I have another set of these where it doesn't have bar ends, but even with the bar end off, I can kind of put my hand sideways on it and get a different position. So that's really cool. With no bar end, they still work. But then another thing I really like about them is that my hands just instantly go right into this like holder here. So it feels like, you know, if I do take my hand off the bar, or if I get some rough stuff, I feel like I have a little bit of like hand grip, you know, hand positioner, and my hands stay in the right place. Another thing I really like about them, and I don't know if this is like just in my head or not, but I almost feel like there's a little bit of like suspension, because a lot of my weight on my bike is on this wing, you know, that's sticking out there. That wing there, a lot of my weight is on that wing, and then as I feel the bike, you know, I feel like a lot of the flex in this, and I feel like that's taking a lot of shock off my hands. Whether that's really true, I don't know, but I swear these are so much more comfortable in my hands. After like an hour of riding these, no problem with my hands. Regular narrow grips, horrible. My hands are like sore and probably get tougher and get used to it, but negatives, people talk about, you know, like sticks and stuff crash. That's maybe happened to me once. Maybe I had a vine or something snag one of these and like throw my bars and throw me on the ground. That may have happened once. It probably would have happened even if these weren't on there. I'm not sure, but definitely that could happen. But if you look at that, I mean, there is a chance that something could slide in and go whoop in there and get hung. But I think it's pretty rare. Like maybe it happens if you're riding a lot of viney jungle or something. Other negatives, weight. You know, this is, I don't know, 100 grams or something per grip, I would say. Not sure. And regular grips can be a whole lot lighter. I know some people say that there's a lot better like silicone. I know the ESI grips are really popular. Never tried those. They're really good for shock absorbing, so I hear, but they're also just round. I think if I know those ODI Ruffians were really thick, and I found them to be pretty comfortable too, but not as comfortable as these, and they didn't have the bar end built in. So once I started using these, and I was like, oh man, I remember how great bar ends were. I always ran bar ends, you know, in the past, and now I remember how great they are. So I found these are specialized, and those are actually like a women's grip. You know, they're like, I think they were supposed to be a little extra small, and I got these really cheap somewhere, lock-on grips, and they're wonderful too. So I'm definitely getting another set of Ergon grips to replace on the Cannondale. I'm sorry, to replace on the Specialized chisel, and then I'll have one spare, you know, really nice grip here. So yeah, I guess, you know, pay better attention to the auctions and watch what you're buying is the moral of the story. And sometimes saving money can cost you money in the long run. So anyway, Ergon grips, if you ever have any hand issues when you're mountain biking, just don't worry about not looking cool or whatever, and try them out. Unless you're riding extreme downhill, I bet it really matters. It really couldn't matter if they're round or flat topped, and and then maybe you can get them out the bar end, but the bar end, I'm telling you, it's where it's at. See you guys.